Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, I'm looking at reviews right here. Yes, says Ryan Cyrus. 5 stars. Love this show. Here's one. The Lex Kim, the best pod in the world. 5 stars. I would give 10 if I could. Oh, my goodness.
That counts for 10.
Let's go to the mailbox. We have a P.O. box, of course, Chemda. It's P.O. Box 8181, Long Island City, New York, 11101. This could be, I'm opening it right now, could be good, could be bad. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a letter. It's a pickle holding a can of beer. Another year, no big deal. Happy birthday, Keith. Don't go sucking and fucking too hard, buddy. All right, that's a little Destiny illusion. Okay, thank you. And that's good. And sobriety's going good, but I appreciate this pickle's having a good time. All right, let's see what else we got here, Brenda. There's a package with shit in it. Oh, I know what this is. Let's read this letter. Dear Keith, I guess this is another birthday thing. I give an almost unreasonable yet somehow appropriate amount of healthy, solid shits about this email. Thank you. I like to know they care. Thank you, Ryan. Happy belated birthday and congrats on your continued Silent Trailers domination. That's true. R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried, they say. I'm still processing the surprise of being one of the last people to get to see him alive. Anyway, please enjoy these nuts, LOL. He got me little attachable nuts for my Crocs.
Oh.
Like you'd put them on the back of a truck if you're an annoying douchebag?
I thought it was for your dick. I was like, this is very interesting how close our fans are to you.
Unless I'm totally crazy, I believe you said you wanted some during the live stream a few weeks ago. I must have, because I'm not seeing this and going, what? You know. Thanks for all the hard work. And by the way, I still think catfishing your dad is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. Lots of love to you and Chemda. There we go.
Oh, I'm in there. Isn't it interesting that a birthday card can include catfishing your dad and R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried? I don't know if our guidance counselor told us about this, but it's pretty special.
I'm 48. There's a lot to get to, you know. I'm excited about today's guest. In fact, I took my greens just to get ready, just to keep up. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about athletic greens. I'm talking about how I start my day. I take a little powder. I put it in the thing. Drink it down. Done. Ta-da. I'm Popeye all of a sudden. I don't need a million different pills. You know, one a day, this, that. I just get a nice little drink with water. It's fantastic. I feel the energy. That's the truth. And probably something else here. Let me see. How do I personally consume it? In my mouth. When do you take it? Every morning. That's my routine. I even take it to travel sometimes as well. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health. I'm talking about athletic health. Arm your immune system. You're reading the news. Come on, I don't got to say it. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills, supplements. I said that. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs in your first purchase. It says be sure to yell this part. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/KATG. Okay? athleticgreens.com/KATG. That's it. Take ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Now here's why I'm so jacked. Myka Fox! Hello, Myka.
Wow, what an intro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody loves Myka Fox. Of course, she hosts the podcast Great Hang with Myka and Tim. Is there any jealousy on one person's side about the other person's comedic success?
No.
No?
Not at all. I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I mean, I think we both wish each other was more successful.
Okay.
You know, then that's less weight for the other one to carry.
Like what you're of course is it fair to say known for your genius tweets? Does Tim ever get mad? Like, come on, I just put out something just as good. It's because you're a chick.
No, he knows his Twitter sucks. He knows it's bad. He relishes in its badness, and he can barely read. And I think the fact that he can write at all is,
right.
You know, it's like watching a child learn. You know, you're not going to be like, this birthday card sucks and this macaroni art, you know, is not really good. You're like, oh,
Right.
Look at that. There was a subject and a verb in this one.
But, I listen to the show, of course, Great Hang. It's very funny. So thank you.
And everyone else should too.
They should. They really should. If it doesn't take up my time somehow, it wouldn't, right? Yeah. So yeah,
Right.
everybody should too. But if we could get real for a second, what do you like about Tim, your co-host and boyfriend?
I mean, do I want to have a romantic moment with you about it, Keith?
Right.
Is
there snuggling? I guess that we just can't picture, right?
He snuggled me this morning to my annoyance, but it was a sweet thing, where you grab me. He's a cuddly man. He's a little lover. He was just telling everyone last night. He walks around the house and goes a round of kisses for everyone, and then he goes and finds the cat. And he gives her a little kiss. Then he finds me. He's a little sweetie boy.
Okay.
I'm the asshole. No, we're both the asshole.
How do you tolerate it? Are you into it?
Tolerate which part? The kisses?
Love or hate?
It's because he's such a silly boy. It's not the romance isn't well, for one thing, he has Asperger's, so he's never just looking in my eyes, It's all...
I wonder if you date somebody with autism or Asperger's and they don't, I wonder if people give those people more credit. Like he said goodnight, that's his way of saying I love you. I bet.
Right. I mean, he does say I love you all the time, but he can't make eye contact when he does it. But, listen, I think we're emotionally on a similar plane where it's I don't need this intense,
care.
Romance.
Right. Romance. Right.
The care is real.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the romance part because what I'm discovering, and I really like romance. I really like some corny things, not necessarily flowers, but maybe cards. I'm on the spectrum, right?
Okay.
And so
the love spectrum, not the aforementioned autism spectrum.
Well, correct. I mean, unless, anyone wants to, let me know something that I'm not understanding. But yes, on the love spectrum. And I'm wondering, and this is based on my history and some of our history very briefly coincides. I wonder if romance, a lot of it is just manipulation and only done by the bad guys. And it's the good guys that you have to convince that this makes sense because romance doesn't make sense. Why would I spend my money here? Why would I spend my time here? Why would I do these things logically? It doesn't make sense. But to these guys and to us who have watched movies where romance is really interrupting my big meeting because you had an epiphany. It's, buying me flowers because you fucked my best friend. It's the stupidest shit. It's the worst reaction to a relationship that is craved in the world. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that's a deeply bleak perspective.
Okay.
But I don't think it's entirely off. Tim loves to take me out for dinner. He loves to show his love by he's a gift giver. I mean, I never read the whatever the book is of the romance.
I don't think anyone else has either. I don't even think the writers wrote it. I really think the way you love it's every time I read those questions, do you like giving gifts? I'm well, not cash, but if I see something that makes me think of you, I want to make you happy. But yes, go ahead. He's a gift giver.
He's a generous person. He'll want to go to fancy dinners and he likes them too. It's not completely selfless. You know what I mean? He's not
God forbid, sure.
Right. But you know what I mean? He's picking the place he wants to go, but he's spending coin on me. He's taking me out, but the big romantic gestures I've had, those were always from the men that were truly fucked up and broken people, showing up to a show of mine right before I'm about to go on and barging in the green room to be I love you. And it was after we had broken up and I'm it's on one hand, I was blown up about a huge romantic gesture and all these other comics are just what the fuck, but also I'm that's really fucked up. It doesn't take into account hey, I'm about to perform. This is not an appropriate time for me to receive this information.
I'm also at work. I'm at work and these are my colleagues.
Right.
And you had a moment with yourself and now you have to share it with me because that the other regular things that you do are subpar. They're garbage. So now you got to go above and beyond without any recognition for what that does for me, because it makes you seem like a good guy. Who can argue with that? Somebody breaking into a place and like saying, I love you. But to be honest, it's like, did you take me into account at all? And it's the big manipulations that try to cover up for this stupid bullshit.
Yeah. So that's extreme narcissism right there. And I'm maybe not
but what if the comedian, I was dating her and she's probably going to say stuff about me on stage? Isn't the best time to jump in and say I love you right before?
Yes,
so she
if you're
can't
a
go home and
manipulator.
think what her yeah, I know, but I mean this is going to be 15 minutes on how I make the bed. You know, I don't need
but
that
you gotta realize it's me. So I'm gonna come out there and be like, this motherfucker just broke into the green room for some bullshit talking about I love you, when I'm sitting here like, well, what about the past 5 months? Like, it really opened him up to it made it a lot worse, theoretically.
Do you invite the ex on stage?
Because that's what he wants, is more attention.
I mean, probably no. I mean, I didn't at the time, but no, it did rattle me, of course.
Sure.
You know, it would have been great. And of course, hindsight is always, just fantastic and very healthy. But, like, wow, thank you. You love me. I got to go on stage. But 1 second, go on stage like, hey, this dude, I thought he was the worst. But it turns out he just said, I love you, which means he's the best. Please come out here.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And then it's like, you broke into my fucking green room. Imagine I come into your office. How many accountants in the room? All right. It's tax day. It's April fucking 15th. I come in and decide that I love you. Will you stop working, or are you an asshole?
Yeah, sorry I didn't work on your taxes. I found love though. That's
on this day, today, right. I realize.
Myka Fox, you can follow her Twitter account under her name, of course. This was in April. She wrote, got told by a boomer that I can't afford to buy a house because I'm wasting my money on rent. Whoops, I guess if I wanted a home, I should have been homeless. Then I see in May, finally able to afford a home after saving all the money I earned from an inheritance. Is that just a joke on how our generation is totally different than the last one? Or did you really get a big inheritance and you're thinking about buying property?
No, I fucking wish. I have a friend. The story behind that is I have a friend who is able to buy a house because of her inheritance. And it's not so much mocking, like, listen, if you get an inheritance, go buy a house. I'm not saying, but no, it's the only way anyone in my generation is able to afford it. Unless, I mean, like, there are tech startup kids, I guess it's possible to make your own money, but mostly, like, before you could buy a house, if you were like a bag boy at a grocery store.
My dad got the house for a handshake and $9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also noticed that the people who can buy a house are the people whose parents have thought about it. And as a wedding gift, I've seen this a few times. As a wedding gift, they put the down payment on a home, and that's 20%. So then now, instead of paying rent, which you would have, you pay the mortgage, which works out to be about the same in a lot of cases. So that's similarly, parents, don't wait until you die, please.
Right.
Oh my God. I know.
If you can.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of you, what were you going to say, Myka? Sorry about that.
Oh no, just that when I first moved to New York, I was trying to be like, hey, like, help me buy a place in New York. Cause like, and if they had, I've lived here for 17 years now. If they had, the investment would have been insane. Of course, my dad didn't, because, he hadn't even retired yet. Like, it was an insane request, but I knew I was never going to have a wedding, but like also like property in New York is more than what a wedding is. Even at 20%, it's insane. I'll never buy. I don't know.
Do you know if your parents would support some of the financial wedding stuff if you were to get married, or?
I think at this point, no.
Because there's almost no chance of grandkids.
Oh, I mean, that you are, for someone who's the most positive person, you are so grim today, Hemda.
Really? I don't think that's grim.
You're like, no romance isn't real. You should only pay for your kid's wedding if they're gonna
give you some toys.
She's like, it's truly grim.
I see this as so positive. I'm like, oh, I understand romance now. This makes complete sense. And I could come from a more logical place. And the other place is like, oh, I understand what parents want. Like, if there's no grandkids, they dismiss you as a human being. Okay, I see where the grimness comes. Okay.
and neither of them have ever asked me for grandparents. For one thing, you have to talk to me to ask. But go on. Keith was like, oh.
She breathed. Well, I was going to ask you about. I remember you doing it. This was some time ago. I remember you did a joke on that you submitted for SNL, and I believe you got $100, and then you wrote a contributor to SNL, and they said, "Yeah, you can keep at it. Don't worry about that." Mm-hmm. Has there been more rating, or is this based on the one time when I hear shows introduce you as a rater for Weekend Update?
I mean, oh no, I haven't done that in a long time, and it's been a long time since someone's used that as a credit for me as well. But once you get a credit, it remains yours forever.
Right. But did time go by that you don't think they mind you say it now, or who cares? Fuck them.
I mean, honestly, who cares? Fuck them. I don't think I'm not famous enough, and also it's just rarely ever used. Like if it is, it's someone's found an old bio of mine. It's like.
Okay.
It's not a common credit for me anymore.
Do you remember what the joke was?
For them?
Do you have it memorized?
I have some memory of it. I couldn't word it exactly. It's a UPS joke. Okay. Right? Are you looking at it?
No, I'm not. No, I really don't know.
You really don't know what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I like what she thinks of you, though. It's on brand. I get it.
I'm not going to. I mean, not to say I don't remember it being the greatest joke either. I was surprised that was one of the ones they chose, but UPS has stopped. They're changing their policies. They're no longer doing it by the size and weight of the package, but by the mode of it's not the size of the ship; it's the motion of the ocean. It was like
okay.
I'd have to find it, but that was the general.
Do you watch SNL when Pete Davidson leaves, Kate McKinnon, A.D. Bryant, Kyle Mooney, where you just bawling your eyes out? How you holding up?
Yeah, I haven't watched the show in a long time.
Okay.
Every now and then if someone, is like, oh, you got to see this clip, I'll look at the clip. But otherwise, it's I'm busy Saturday nights and I don't think about it.
I heard some horrible news, I think. You tell me how you're holding up. You mentioned this in an interview, but very, very briefly. You have tinnitus?
Yeah.
Do you say tinnitus or tinnitus?
It depends when you catch me.
Oh, okay. How do you say it, Myka?
I learned it as tinnitus. I've heard people say tinnitus. I think that's probably wrong, but I don't understand why it's so common. So I think
because nobody can hear right. Everybody's saying it wrong, like a deaf person.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think both are acceptable by me. I don't care. I can't hear it.
So what do you hear? Do you hear like a whine all the time? Do you hear static? And does it get worse now that we're talking about it?
It does get worse when you talk about it. The only thing I was told, I went to an audiologist. I went to an ENT and an audiologist in the same day. They said my tinnitus was not very severe. So, oh well. But it also comes and goes. What I hear is like, when in a movie when there's an explosion and then you hear a right afterwards. Yeah. It's like that, and it's usually I notice it most at night, and in the morning, probably because it's so quiet and I can hear it.
Do you need fan noise or music at night? I understand the ear's trying to grab sound from very far away, and of course it comes back all fucked up.
Is that what it is? I couldn't even figure out what it was. But I have a white noise machine. What helps me more is I listen to like meditations, like talks about meditation. I listen to like soothing, ethereal concepts, and that sort of puts me to sleep, and it gets my mind to focus on something else.
Like you're very relaxed. Look at that. Another muscle just got relaxed. Wow.
Is that a new hairstyle?
Yeah, that's like guided meditation, but I have a guided meditation app, and on that app, there are like talks about the concepts of meditation. And so those are the things. So nothing that even requires me to be doing the work of meditation. I'm just listening to someone philosophize. Oh,
they're reading the manual to you.
Right. So there's like monks or philosophers or different people with different perspectives on it. And, it's the type of thing I'm interested in anyway. And at night, it's like the perfect time to do it because it's quiet.
There was a night I abused Oxy. Like I'm like, this is gonna be a me night, right? I'm not technically drinking, so that's not my problem. But I'm doing like I realize my head's nodding off, and I'm like, oh, that was fun. Nobody's around, so I'm not embarrassed. I went to bed that night, and I had it for like 8 to 12 hours, and it was the freakiest fucking thing.
Tinnitus.
In my whole life.
Yeah, does your sound like what mine sounds like?
Mine was like an ocean. Shh.
Yeah, I get that sometimes too.
So when I hear fucked up noises like they do deliberately in movies, for a second, and it only happened to me one day, but for a second I get post-traumatic stress. I'm like, is that real? Is that me? Just the other day, I'm like, oh, fuck, no. And I realized there's the Xbox engine. And I'm like, okay.
Well, at least he's off Oxy now because that scared the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
How often you were taking that after you sobered up?
Yes.
As a compensation for
I'm sure, yeah. But it was really just, but that felt like I wanted to, it's going to be a me day today. Next thing you know, I'm fucking deaf and crying.
Yeah. I mean, it's anytime that happens, like in a TV show, the gunshot sound, like afterward or whatever, it makes it so much worse. Like I have to like mute the TV until it's
That's
done.
where it makes it worse because both yours is doing the same sound. It doesn't just pick up one like the TV.
What?
I would think the other sound would take over the other sound.
No, it just amplifies it.
Wow.
It's like I think it's like a feedback loop or something. That's the only advice they gave me was they're like, now I can fucking hear it. So fuck. But now they were like, don't think about it. Don't listen to it. I can totally hear it now. This is so funny. You just made it fucking come back.
Oh, wow. Keith, let's help. While you're meditating, it's very healing to think of maybe the ocean. And if a thought comes up,
oh no,
that's
tinnitus. The ocean's tinnitus. What she has is tinnitus. That's the siren. Oh boy, is it one ear or both ears?
It's mostly my left ear.
You want to see a magic trick? Now it's going to the right.
Oh god, now it's both.
Sorry, I was just fucking around. Tell me what this what's this about? Because speaking of me wondering, could it be from drugs? You were walking home one night, and you looked at your purse that you're carrying, and the purse isn't on you all of a sudden. Am I telling this story right so far?
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this, Kenta. So
far, hard relate. But go ahead.
Wait a second.
She's like, I know I was walking with the purse, and all of a sudden the purse is gone. She concludes she was mugged. Now, just because right there we seem to be if I was a detective, and only because I'd be trained a certain way, I would go, what? Did you happen to be drunk or high during that moment?
Stoned out of my fucking gourd.
Okay.
So stoned that I must have just released
I'm done
my
with
purse.
this.
Like my arm was just like, I am done doing this. And because I wasn't watching the purse, you know what I mean? Like what is it looked at is not tended to. And I just dropped it. It must have been because I don't remember getting mugged, but my ego of course was like, you must have gotten mugged. You didn't just release your purse into the universe.
I remember did
the universe give it back?
I did get the purse back, which is crazy because it's like, I can't believe I even looked for it. There was a piece of me because I was so stoned. I was like, maybe it's still at home. Like maybe I just left without my purse. And so I was like, just go back to see if it's gone or whatever. And it was like a few blocks away. I saw the purse on like the side of the sidewalk, of course it was like totally empty.
The innards are taken out.
All the innards
are taken.
Yeah. Although there was still weed in the change purse of the purse. I was like, let's go again.
Jokes on them.
I know.
Maybe it appears back.
I know. I was like, but then I was like, oh, they probably just didn't want to get really high and lose the purse too.
Right. It's a big day. Right. Don't do your own supply, they're thinking. I remember I was working at a restaurant right across the street from me. And I had my waiter clothes in a bag, and I'm completely sober for the record. I get to the restaurant, and I'm like, I don't have my fucking waiter clothes, but I know I did. And I realized subconsciously I passed the garbage can. I just threw my waiter clothes in the fucking thing. How do I tell my boss that?
Were you fucked up?
No, I wasn't. I'm like, I really don't like this job. I guess I don't know what I was thinking.
That's so
I did-
funny.
One time I drove to Manhattan and I crossed the street to go into the restaurant where my my person at the time was. Cross the street. I'm now ready. Like a few minutes later, we're going to go back to the car. There's no keys. I looked for these keys for an hour, had to get a person to come duplicate the keys. All I did, this is before I was smoking weed on a regular basis or pretty much at all, if any, like, or if I was only smoking at home. I was not on anything. But now that I think about it, I was on a narcissist. So I swear to God, in recent times, I'm like, did he fucking take the keys and throw it out? Even though it would be bothersome to him, like he's getting a ride home. Would he be capable? Because I think he's capable of so much that has to cross my mind now.
What would even be the benefit? Was there any benefit?
I don't know. I don't know that there always needs to be a benefit other than fuck you. Other than like, I didn't think this through and I fucked myself also. I don't know. I'm making this up. But the thing is that's where my mind goes now. Like,
because they're so crazy.
All unexplainable things. Maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Your narcissist is the cat. We're not the toilet. The narcissist, obviously.
This is also this is a great way to like how you catch somebody in lies. Like, no, I didn't fuck your friend. No, I didn't steal from your purse. No, and like, did you throw out my car keys? Well, that's stupid. Why would I throw out your car keys? Aha! We got somewhere, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see.
Speaking of crime, did you hear yesterday? I just learned about this today. Yesterday morning, another subway shooting in New York.
Cool. What?
Yeah, on the Q train.
That's here.
No way.
Coming into Manhattan, Canal Street. This is where it happened to happen.
Oh, from
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
I go to Canal Street. This is like, I could have been there. This is like my 9/11. And I already had my 9/11. I had a whole bunch of 9/11s, basically. But luckily, I'm alive, marked safe. Okay?
I know. But all New Yorkers are like, I know that train.
Yeah.
I've ridden that train. Like me, I was like, oh, that train's right here. But it was in a whole different borough.
Right.
How did I miss that as news? It was an actual gun?
It's an actual gun. It's the fourth homicide on a subway this year in New York City. Daniel Enriquez, 48, was sitting in the last car of the Manhattan-bound Q train station as it approached the Canal Street station when he was hit around 11:45 a.m. He was shot in the chest. So the guy's just walking back and forth on the train. Then all of a sudden, no aggravation, to be clear, and just shot this guy in the chest. Well, first of all, once you hear him going, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, get the fuck out of there. Not to blame the victim. But yeah, yeah. Let's see. He was going back and forth in the same train car.
That's terrifying. He didn't know the victim.
No, they didn't know each other.
And I'm assuming it's a he.
Of course, but they don't have him. He got out at Canal Street. Yep.
This motherfucking city. I can't. I bet the camera's broken there too.
Yeah.
Right. We'll find out if the cameras were broken too. Right. But I don't see a picture.
Canal Street's the most populated place in the fucking planet. You can't there's no one to describe him. We can't fucking find this guy.
No, but you should go to a crowded place like that because you just blend right into the crowd. You just start walking. And isn't Canal Street the first Manhattan stop? So weren't they like way underground? Like they were crossing a borough.
They were I think it happened actually maybe when they crossed the bridge. And yeah, here we go. Without provocation, he pulled out a gun, fired at the victim at close range as the train was crossing the Manhattan Bridge. He ended up getting out at Canal Street.
Was anyone else on that in that car? Yeah,
people are describing him as dark-skinned, heavy-set man with a beard wearing a dark-colored hoodie and gray sweatpants and white sneakers. But I mean, okay, you're free.
Wait a second. How is this not national news? Like we have one subway shooting and all of a sudden it's no longer newsworthy.
I think it gets boring. Maybe it's catching up where I even stopped reporting every mass shooting. It's every fucking day.
Sure, every mass shooting, but New York City, like I've always thought, like it's crazy how many people are here and how many people are fucking psychotic, and yet there are never any shootings.
It's time
now
to catch
there's two in a month.
And 4 this year, yeah. Let's see. Medics rushed him to the hospital. That's where the guy died. Cops are still looking for the shooter. Shootings in the subway had been rare in recent years. Through May 15th, 14 people were shot on the transit system citywide, including, those 10 victims that third time. By the same point last year, no one was shot in the transit system. That's something we bragged about in this city. They go, how's your transit system? I go, it's extensive, and no one died this year. But now all of a sudden, we're up, I don't have a calculator, impossible to figure out percent.
Well, we haven't been traveling on the train so much. It's been COVID. We're just starting to again. And I think there's a bunch of crime coming back to New York City because there's like a lot of talk about a financial crisis.
But these subways are still different than 2018 and 2019. These shootings, it is a big deal, this fourth one. And it does make me worry a little bit as opposed to the 3 ones. I don't know. But yeah, this wasn't happening 4 years ago.
You don't think this is somehow COVID related in terms of like people have been having a harder time?
Maybe. Sure. Maybe.
And
like their mental health
in general.
Yeah. But now you're doing what? He had a toothache.
No. Not just mental health. Mental health leads to financial crisis, leads to I'm not talking about individually we've been going through things. I'm talking about because the individuals have been going through financial, emotional, all of this stuff. The country has been going through financial issues. Then does that start trickling down into more crimes? Isn't that how it goes?
I hear you.
Yeah, but to what end? They didn't even just anger. He didn't mug the guy. He just wants to murder another person.
Right. I
it's
don't
fucking
know.
sickening.
He didn't want to. He was debating. He was walking back and forth for a bit. And this is serious. Chemda, he wasn't going. The guy that went on the subway that got shot, he hadn't been on the subway all COVID because he was nervous about COVID.
Oh my God. Why do you have to add that? I don't know what to do with that. That's so extra. Ugh. That today this is very different, but COVID related. Starting this weekend, me and Xerxes started going into stores unmasked here and there, and it's like sleeping with a new person raw. I'm just like, am I fucking all these people? But we're the only ones with masks a lot of times, and I know the masks help other people, not us. And so we're I guess we're vaxxed. We're trying to keep away from people, and then people treat us like crazy people because they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" They go for the handshake, and I'm like. And I go COVID, and we give the elbow, and they give the fists, and that's what do you
I'm
think?
in the middle. Here's a fist.
We started having to fist people because no one understands the elbow, and it's gone. So I did adjusting. I'm not saying I'm ready to shoot people, and I'm not saying it's related. It's just that I'm saying now we're coming out for COVID. I'm gonna get shot. Just know I lived a good life. I really enjoy bike riding. And if I get shot while I'm on a bike, it's okay. And everyone love each other. Thank you.
And we have all this violence. Today they're going to be taking out the last public payphone in NYC.
Well.
Now don't we need phones more than ever?
Well, now we can get rid of COVID. Those were disgusting.
That's right where we got it.
That's a bet.
Where am I going to shit?
Where am I going to change into Superman?
They'll shit in the street like an American, Keith.
Be proud. Now they have those phone chargers now everywhere.
Right.
First of all, what am I supposed to do? Stand there for a half hour? No, I'm almost done. Never mind. They're all taken up by the homeless. Somehow they have the same phones I do. But that's what we have now instead of.
Are you jealous of the homeless people, Keith?
It just seems like.
Is that unfair, Keith, that they have a phone too?
Not unfair. It doesn't take away my phone energy. I'm just saying it would be nice if I had electricity everywhere I went.
You do. You do.
Mm-hmm. So you know what? Next time we pass one of these chargers, we'll see.
Oh
we'll see. You're right. They have too much, Keith.
Is that where
someone's got to put a stop to these homeless people charging their phones? What's it going to stop? Then someone maybe gives them housing. Disgusting.
I want to see a list of who they're calling. All the numbers they're calling, it's street corners.
They're calling the other homeless people. Yeah, they're probably watching porn.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of,
yes.
So yesterday we were in Times Square. Forgive us. There's a Joe's there also. And we're sitting in the center of the street. You know how they do. They put the chairs and tables out. And at the table in front, just ahead of me, I'm looking at this guy, and this woman is changing in front of him. Like there's on the phone. He's looking at the phone. She's taking off her shirt. There's her boobs. And then she's putting on a different shirt, modeling it. And I'm like, what's going on? Is he watching like a weird video or whatever? No, they're on FaceTime. They're on FaceTime and they're having a time in the middle of whatever. He's not, you wouldn't know what he was watching. Everything was very casual. But we took a picture of him watching this person. And I'm like, that can happen all the time. I don't think anyone cares. Do you guys think people care anymore?
I saw somebody watching a 9/11 movie on an airplane, and to me that was too much. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a fuck. Right next to me, they're watching Flight 93, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. What were you saying, Myka?
Nobody gives a fuck. I mean, like, I was sitting there putting together a bomb on the plane. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, if we've seen these 9/11 movies, these terrorists get on these, they're like, they're looking around all shifty, so it's just sweating bullets. Yeah, nobody cares. The whole world's fucking nuts. What are you gonna do? You think somebody's about to shoot up a subway? Do I look at him, or does that make them want to shoot? Do I not look at him and I'm now a bitch and I just hope for the best? Yeah.
You know what? That's usually the dialogue that's happening in our head when we see a dick on the train. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do I look at him and that makes him stop? Do I point it out and that makes him calm down? Or is that extra fun?
Right.
That's extra fun.
Right.
That they want that. I learned that lesson early.
Yeah.
Once I was like, someone was like jerking off the train. I go, ugh. And then he was like, ugh. I'm like, damn it. Damn it.
You don't like it.
Fool me once. God damn it.
I was one time I saw this guy had a briefcase on him. So this was a while ago. Who carries a briefcase anymore? And I was like, why does he look weird with the briefcase on his lap? Like, what? Somebody's sitting weird. And you look right under the briefcase. His dick is out and he's slowly massaging his dick. And I'm like, fuck, who's he looking at? There's like 3 people on the train. I'm like, is he even looking at anything? And I'm like, do I stand up and go, why is your dick out? Or is that when he comes? And does that mean he directs it at me? Like all these things are going through my head. But otherwise I'm like, but he's getting away with it. And I'm like, no, don't show him that you even see it because that's what he wants. And meanwhile, I'm looking at it and I know you know it.
I like that he was massaging his dick. There's
he was.
cucumbers on the balls.
It was very strange.
He's doing his hand like he's doing somebody's shoulders, but on his dick.
Seriously, I don't know if it was hard. It was just like he's enjoying.
Because when you're on the subway, usually you're like alone. Like the same thing that entitles him to jerk off is what allows us to cry on the subway and feel like, like you're just like, listen, man, no one else exists but me.
It's me time.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. And in both cases, it would help when a stranger gives you a tissue.
Speaking of dicks, I saw the new horror movie Men, Men.
It's a horror movie?
Oh, it is horrible. Yes. Yes. First of all, number 1 movie again, of course, is Doctor Strange. Downton Abbey, number 2. Then The Bad Guys, a cartoon. Sonic the Hedgehog, half a cartoon. Men is number 5, brand new this week. And your movie, Kenda, is doing pretty well. Number 6, everywhere, everything, all the time. How you doing? Let's get it done. Right there, number 6, $52 million so far.
It's going to keep rising. This is a cult movie at minimum. Okay. Whoever watches it is obviously telling 2 friends, and I'm very into that. So congratulations. Either that or everyone's like me. And we've seen it at least twice in the movie theater so far, running up the numbers, but it does not matter. If you've seen it and you cried or were affected, it is your responsibility to get at least one more person to know about the movie. Pass the word on.
When it was time to vote, she said, if you wanna. Just funny. That's all.
Listen, some things are important, Keith.
Right. Sure.
Some things can actually affect change in this world.
Did you see the movie, Myka?
I loved it. Yeah.
Did you cry?
I felt a welling.
Okay. Did it hurt?
No, it didn't hurt me. Not physically, no. But I felt some emotion.
Welling.
Yeah, I understood it. I'm capable of emotion, Hamda.
I mean,
I'm
I
not-
just asked if you cried. So-
No, you asked if it hurt.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, I did.
I'm responding to that.
That's true.
Isn't that something? Who has more emotion, do you think? Me or Myka? Because I cried.
Well, Myka lets out her emotions maybe throughout the day a little bit more than you. And so you might, concentrate it into a movie so that you can cry. So it's not coming from inside the house, maybe.
Still looks kind of like me, though, because it was multiple times.
You want that to be the poll?
It seems like, that could be
Who's
the
more
poll.
emotional?
Who's more emotionally, should it be emotionally aware or just emotional?
Who has
but
more
emotional could be bad.
who has
How do we
more
make it so it's obvious what the compliment is?
Who has more emotional intelligence?
Who's more emotional intelligence? What would be a question in that regard?
Like if I go, how do you feel? You might have, maybe 3 options at least in your head of possibilities of ways that you can feel.
I know 4 though, because I mixed the colors. Okay.
You are in touch with your feelings. You can
just
express
white and
them when
black
they come
count?
up. Why don't you guys tell me what it means, and then the audience can, more intelligently decide. What do you think emotional intelligence is?
Who's more capable of recognizing the emotion, and who's able to act on it in an appropriate manner and let the other person know where they're coming from.
Myka, do you agree?
Try to top that one.
I mean,
that was anger.
Really? Because it felt like pride. I think, of course, yes, being aware of your own emotions, but I think emotional intelligence also includes being aware of other people's emotions and handling them appropriately as well.
I had sympathy, and I didn't want to mansplain the whole thing.
One might think that both are the same. Is that managing your own emotions?
One might think something because everybody's different, and we like different things, and ours is subjective feelings.
Wow. I mean, if you're going to do jazz hands, you're clearly more emotionally intelligent than anybody. Because who's more emotionally intelligent than theater kids?
Some people like to see theater. Not my thing, but I can appreciate their appreciation. Feelings. Okay. All right.
Any other feelings we want to share before we move on from the poll?
Feelings of this movie, men. It upset me, and it upsets me when if there's a movie and it confuses me, and I'm pretty intelligent also, the real intelligence that matters. But
most smart people do have to tell people that.
Well, it's over Zoom. I didn't know if you could see. So, once in a blue moon, it's a true story that I don't understand what a movie's trying to fucking tell me. And anytime that I look it up and it says this movie, like Men, for example, explained, it's never explained with something that I didn't know. So like Men explained, and they know, I guess people are Googling the word explained, so there's the answer. But I'm reading in the LA Times. I know it's not the Times, but it's still a thing, right? The director and writer says it's up to the viewer to decide what the movie means based on their own experiences and preconceptions.
Write a book report.
I paid you!
Yeah.
Quote, I've heard interpretations of this film, they said, from different people who are perfectly intelligent and reasonable that are wildly different by 180 degrees. And that is not really a reflection on the film, it's a reflection of them. I have no time for these kinds of movies. Get the fuck out of here.
That's not really a review. That's like, I didn't read the book and I have to write a book report. Like many people think many different things about the Grapes of Wrath. and it's interesting that one can interpret it the way they interpret their own life.
Webster's Dictionary describes thoughts as...
In conclusion, you could think whatever you want, whenever you want, no matter what you're reading, seeing, or anything.
But try not to hurt each other. Take care.
And also, what are grades? The end.
Top swings for your summer porch. And how to stay cool.
Wow, now I really want to see the movie. You guys made it sound awesome.
Leslie wrote in, Hemda, and says, Hema goes to the movies is the subject. But then they got it right. I wanted to let Hemda know about, by the way, this is funny. Can you see that says Hemda go to the movies? It's spelled wrong. But then it says, I wanted to let Hemda, and then there's a big line that's obviously not deliberate, and then it continues, know about the Run P app. So I think in that one they went back to correct it or somehow.
Maybe.
and then hit an enter. Anyway,
I have had autocorrect change it to chema. I don't know what it means, but in Hebrew, chem'ah means butter. So I'm like butter.
Oh, okay. All right. And my dad's a prince. I wanted to let Chemda know about the Run P app. I heard about it when I subscribed to Movie Pass. This is for when you saw your long movie in case you'd miss anything. It lets you know when's the best time to run to the bathroom during a movie and what you have missed. Love the podcast. Yeah. Leslie, Houston, Texas. Shout out to the black guy who tips. I think we know about Run P. I just heard the show where we talked to the creator of Run P this weekend, Chemda.
That's cool.
Classic. Very cool.
I thought I talked about possibly checking Run P when I was going to see Everything Everywhere All at Once because I knew it was 2 hours 20, but I don't want to even spoil it for what I shouldn't even bother watching while I pee. And by the way, there's no pee time in that. Right. When do you pee?
Well, you know what? When we talked to the creator, I said I love this app. I think the whole world should know about this app. It's fantastic. It tells you, it's runp.com. It tells you when to go to the bathroom or concession stand or have a fight with your lover and not miss anything. And that's what's fantastic. But I said, but I'm looking at these reviews you guys give it, which it's unnecessary, but all right, you want to have fun and do it. But I'm seeing A+ or F- all over the place. You're not taking this serious. Okay? He said he'd look into it. Well, the app's still great, but he did not look into it. In fact, no joke, I'm looking at their review for men. The grade WTF. It got a what the fuck.
Good.
That you can give an F then.
And you're either going to see this movie or not. I don't understand. If a movie gets good reviews, people go see it. What's the point? You see the genre of movie that you want to see, and that's it.
I agree. I saw Men last night, Run P's sister said. It's been 12 hours since I was sitting in my seat, and I'm completely confused by what I saw. I was hoping for an epiphany overnight, but no, I'm still scratching my head. Excuse me. It's at this point in my review that I would like to give a shout out to the most brilliant man I ever met, my brother, the creator of Run P, an overall great guy. Okay, this is some review. He added a new feature to our grading system. Instead of just A through F, we now have a WTF option. I'm absolutely 100% going to click that option today. The last 20 minutes, in fact, I leaned over and asked my husband if he had perhaps slipped acid or LSD in my dinner or drink. Now, I don't believe that ever happened.
That sounds like an incredible review.
Hey, did you perhaps, darling, slip acid or LSD into my food and or drink? No, honey, the screen's crazy. Okay, just checking.
If a movie has a hallucinogenic effect, sign me up.
Right. What is this
You can't
movie?
give that enough, right?
That's fucking great.
I don't know.
like this movie?
No, because you have common sense. Could be a feeling.
Do I have common sense? Or when I sound off with common sense, people call me grim.
Let's see. I honestly can't figure out if it was great or if it killed off a bunch of my greatly needed brain cells.
Wow, wow.
It stumped me. Anyway, you can hear the show with the Run P guy. That was fun. Episode 2196. 2196 called Thank You for Your Service. And also Zach Sherwin called in during that show, and we were talking about his veganism for a second, and he won't even have honey because it comes from bees. And I'm like, can you pick flowers? He's like, I got to fucking draw a line somewhere. You're a vegan, Mike. Is this true or false?
What?
I am not.
Okay.
You are not. Okay, I thought I heard something. Maybe it was humor and I misunderstood it. Okay. So forget the whole thing. Well, I didn't even care about Zach. I just said it to bring that up. All right. Well, anyway.
Well, I love fun. Zach. Hi, Zach. How's it going?
I like Zach, of course.
I'm saying hi to him through the show.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to shout out?
Yeah. You know what? Christina Ricci.
Okay.
She listened. What's up, Christina Ricci? I thought you killed it in Yellow Jackets. I've been a lifelong fan, and good work.
I'll give you that. I'll give you a shout out to Christina Ricci. Definitely.
Here's another cool show to check out. Episode 2608, Kevin in the Hall. We had on Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall, and I bring it up because Amazon has a brand new Kids in the Hall stuff on there. And he talked about all the trauma he went through, how it created his sketches. Because I'm curious. I'm seeing a bunch of dicks flopping about, people, squeezing the Empire State Building. I'd love to know what trauma led to all that, right? He suffers from claustrophobia and hypochondria. We get into all that. Oh my God, every guest is a mess. Anyway, Myka Fox, here's what you want to do. You want to download the podcast Great Hang. I do. I love it. And apparently if you love it too, it doesn't take away from my happiness feeling. Okay? So please do yourself the favor and enjoy it. MykaFox.com is interesting because right now I see it set to private. What does that mean? I don't know. But she wrote it down to promote just the same. I think it's just so she's saying she goes, come to the show. I come to the show. It says sold out. I think she's just bragging. Anyway, it's private right now, but good luck, everybody.
Myka.
I've been trying to publish it. I've like even hired my friend to work on the website. It's Squarespace. It should be easy. I couldn't do it. I hired my friend to do it. It's still not published. Listen.
Something to look forward to. Yeah,
It's
we can follow
coming soon.
Yeah, we can follow Myka Fox on social media and just know there's going to be another layer. So that's very exciting to us, right? Of course it is. Of course it is. This is the tone is sarcasm, but I am serious. Those are two feelings. Okay. We're posting new videos on YouTube all the time. Make sure you hit subscribe. All right. Hit that bell, all that thing. Just smash the shit out of it. And we appreciate it. Myka, thank you so much for your time. It's good seeing you again.
It's good to see you guys.
Oh, thanks. Better.
Congratulations on all your life successes and for making it out of the apartment, Hemda. And
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. I wish people would congratulate me more for leaving the house. It's a big deal. Thank you.
Have you talked to your doctor? Like, hey, I have this. I have a bigger disease than people might not appreciate, this COVID thing. Can I go out yet, or do I look like a big dork?
Every time I ask my doctor about my diseases, they're like, oh, well, yours is so special that everybody's different. So we don't have enough information for that because what you have just is a variation of responses in different people's bodies. So we'll never know in your lifetime. So I think I'm done. I think I'm done asking. I think they've said plenty. They don't know. They went to medical school. They're trying to know. They're writing papers. That's nice. But I just, I'll go to my CAT scan and hope for the best.
Do you ever, you guys have probably, you go on vacation somewhere and then you hear back home there's a big bad storm or, terrible weather. Doesn't that cheer you up just a little bit? So I say that to say, when you read the news about the subway shooting, Kendra, you're like, okay.
Wow. Imagine if I said yes. Like, would you be like, Myka was right? Something's going on. I mean, I have like slightly shit feelings. I ride my bike everywhere now. So when there's like car traffic and I'm going faster than cars, I have like these little shitty feelings like, look at me, I'm doing the right thing. And I don't love myself for having that, but I do have it. I'm like, oh, another correct decision by me. Very good. And yes, if it's a snowstorm here and I'm trying to get out of the snow and I'm on a beach, but none of these are really that fun because every time I have that feeling of like, yes, I dodged the snow. I'm like, but my brother's in it and I hope he's at like, it can't just be straight fun. It can't. And I have to be like, nah, I don't want to be happy for people's misery because it's just too much.
Sure. Well, Myka, thanks again. You make me very happy. That's another feeling. Mic drop.
Whoa. You know what? I'm proud of you. Another one for the Arsenal, Keith.
Thank you for the Arsenal. Son of a bitch.
KeithAndTheGirl.com